Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this World of Warcraft raiding guide. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 10-man heroic mode version of Warlord Zon'ozz in the Dragon Soul raid. In order to complete this fight, we use 1 tank, 3 healers and 6 DPS. When it comes to choosing your DPS setup, you should probably opt to take around 4 ranged DPS and 2 melee DPS. We'll cover this later on in the video. Just like with all of the heroic guides, this first section of the video is going to be taking a look at the boss abilities and what's different between the normal mode and heroic mode versions. If you want to skip to the tactics section of this video, then please do feel free to click on the annotation that will be in the top hand left of your screen for the first half of this video. The abilities currently shown on the screen are the same as in the normal mode version of the encounter. However, being a heroic mode encounter, you do need to be aware that things will obviously deal significantly more damage, and fucking up will most likely cause your raid to wipe. The Disrupting Shadows ability hasn't been removed. I'm just putting it in this section because it was changed ever so slightly for the heroic mode version. So now when you dispel the Disrupting Shadows ability off of a player, instead of just knocking back that single player, it will deal 60,000 shadow damage, and it will knock back all players that are standing within 10 yards of the player that you dispel. We will cover how to sort out this ability and take care of it later on in the video. In the heroic mode version of this encounter, when you enter the black phase, so to speak, when the ground turns all black and tentacles, crazy hentai porno tentacles start attacking you from all different angles, these tentacles are now attackable, and you have to kill these off in order to, take less damage. When all of the tentacles spawn, you will get a new debuff placed on you, and you will take a certain amount of shadow damage. I believe it's along the lines of 4,000 shadow damage per stack of each debuff you have on you. So this is a really healer intensive fight, and healers do need to be awake with AoE healing like tranks, barriers, shit like that. Every time you kill one tentacle, one of the debuffs will be removed from you, so obviously the faster you kill them, the less damage you're going to take in the long run. We're now going to go over the tactic for this boss and how you are eventually going to defeat him and gain shiny achievements and 410 item level loot, to put it voidly. Voidly? That's not even a word, forget I said that. So at the start of the fight, you want the tank to face the boss towards the raid so that the ball spawns, just like on normal mode, and you have your 2 separate groups with ranged and melee. However, as you can see to the side, we've got a paladin standing out, and this is to help with the Disrupting Shadows debuff that gets placed on players. When this debuff gets placed on you, you want to run out of the raid, and as soon as you're out, your healers want to make sure you're topped up, and then you get dispelled. If you have less than 60,000 health and you don't have any form of shadow resistance, which obviously I'd assume you do have some form of it, you will die, no questions asked. You do not want to die. The DPS requirement on this fight is really, really high. Players such as mages, and I believe paladins can do it as well. Mages can ice block to remove the debuff, and also I believe paladins can bubble, and rogues cloak of shadows and stuff like that. So that's exactly the same. For the ball bouncing, we do 7 bounces for the first phase, 7 again, and then 5. So now here we've entered into the black phase, and as you can see, big crazy hentai tentacles are spawning everywhere. And there's the big claw in the middle, which the melee will take down. And then we assigned 2 ranged to go to each side of the boss and take out the tentacles. 1 healer would follow these 2 ranged in order to make sure that they didn't drop low. So here we have a druid standing next to us. Me and the hunter take off these ones, and our warlock and shadow priest go with another druid and take out the ones on the other side of the boss, which you can't currently see on the screen. You want these dead as fast as possible. Now as you can see, a ball has just spawned while we're still attacking the tentacles and not grouped up. Here you want a rogue or some class that's not going to die, such as paladins with bubble or a fire mage with the cauterize ability spec, to take the first bounce of this ball. This is vital because you don't want the ball to go to the back of the room. You want it to just start bouncing between the ranged and melee, and you want it to be stable. So make sure that you do have a class that can run out and do that. As you can see, healing again is very, very, very tight. AoE healing is amazing on this fight. because people are taking so much damage from the shadows and from the ball bouncing. Just make sure you don't run in and get killed by the ball bounce if you've just been dispelled of disrupting shadows and have no health on you. You would look like a complete and utter idiot. So obviously the ball, after it's bounced and hits the boss, it will place the damage increasing debuff on him. We leave our 2 melee on the boss at all times throughout this fight, and I believe it is a Death Knight and a Rogue that we keep on them. Then when the black phase starts, your tank needs to run to the claw and tank the claw. That's this big tentacle that's flapping around next to us. And you want them to just cleave that off. The melee stay on that. The ranged go onto the tentacles straight away. And then just as the black phase is about to end, they move out with the healers and start killing off the other tentacles that are zapping pew pew the raid. You can see the debuff that the tentacles being alive puts on you, which is next to my Arcane Blast buff and my Mass Resurrection buff, I believe it is, underneath my abilities in the top hand right of the screen. I believe that is everything this encounter. If the claw is not tanked, by the way, it will deal 100,000 damage to someone randomly. So make sure the claw is being tanked, otherwise, you know, there's no point. Once we've done the 7, 7, 7, 5 bounces, in the final black phase, the 4th black phase, we ignore all of the tentacles that are up and we just full on nuke the boss. By this point, he will have so many stacks of the debuff that makes him take increased damage. I think it's like he takes 130% extra damage from having 7, 7, 7, 5 bounces, which is like 28 bounces in total or something like that. I'm probably wrong there, and someone's going to correct my maths in the comments section below. You just stay on the boss and nuke him, and make sure you use all of the healing possible. Otherwise, you're going to die. It seems next to impossible to heal, but it is possible. Just remember that. And yeah, we just stay on the boss, full on nuke the boss, and eventually he'll just curl over and die. I think the claw does die here, but that's only because the melee can cleave, like both. I'm not sure about Death Knight's cleaving, but I know Rogues can, and they just cleave, get the claw down. You want to be using Time Warp and pre-pots when the boss is around 40 seconds off the Berserk timer. That way you're getting the most out of it, since Time Warp lasts for around that time anyway. So just as your Time Warp's finishing on your Bloodlust or your Heroism, the boss should be curling over and dying. As always, thank you for watching, and if you feel this guide has helped you in any way, or if it's going to help you get a kill or something along those lines, then do feel free to subscribe to the channel for future World of Warcraft raiding guides, PTR previews, and I'm now playing other games such as Amnesia and Star Wars The Old Republic, so videos from them will also be available on the channel. As always, I'll leave the rest of the encounter up on the screen for you to watch to see how we handled things and ultimately get the kill. Thank you for watching.